Hello and welcome to the Global AI Podcast, coming to you from the second Global AI Summit emanating from Riyadh, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Today we have the Managing Director for the Philippines Flying Lab Company, Dr. Heidi Sampang. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
So, Dr. Heidi, before we started recording, you were telling me the Flying Labs company is heavily invested in humanitarian efforts. How does AI aid in your humanitarian efforts?
So basically, Flying Labs is a global network where we, as we discussed earlier, we use AI to solve common social good problems.
Okay.
So, for example, we have our Nepal Flying Labs where they did deliver TB samples
Hmm.
to remote areas using drones. We use drones as an artificial intelligence. We have our partners in Peru who were like mapping areas in the Amazon rainforest. So in our case, in the Philippines, initially we were using drones to map areas as well for affected by fire, landslides, to map the areas where we can focus our resource limited relief efforts. But now, because of the drone technologies improving, we were able to deliver COVID vaccines using drones in the
Okay.
Philippines, inter-island. So we're so proud to say that we're the first in Southeast Asia to deliver COVID vaccines and medicine using drones, like from like a distance of 10 kilometers. Yeah.
Okay. And as you know, since utilizing artificial intelligence in your efforts, you're reaching out a larger demographic and you're going to different places. How do you see artificial intelligence helping your efforts in the future?
We want AI to be able to guide us, to be able to direct us and make us, provide us with good data so we can make an informed decision. So we can actually make smarter relief efforts, targeting the most affected communities, making sure that we're not duplicating efforts with other NGOs as well who are doing the same effort. Because that's the problem with relief or humanitarian aid. Everybody's focused on one area and then they deliver all the services just because they don't have the data.
Okay.
So if you have an AI and telling you, this area has not been served, this area has been served, but they lack water, then at least our efforts will be more targeted and more done in a very smart manner. So we were able to target people at the lowest level where they need the aid the most.
Okay.
So
Can you give us an example of just how much artificial intelligence has increased the basically the donors you're helping and servicing?
yeah, so basically, when we are, what happened was, I'm sure you've heard of Yolanda, right? The big hurricane in the Philippines,
Yeah.
where, there's a global effort to go there and to help the area. But the thing is, it's so disorganized that people are not, getting the aid and they're like focusing. So that's when our partners from We Robotics, who created the Flying Labs network, came in and saw the problem. It's chaotic during that time. So, but now that we're realizing the problems, we're trying to use AI, like for example, open street mapping, to be able to determine the communities that were affected, and then also targeting the needs. But the thing is, in terms of humanitarian aid, AI is really not there yet. We're just barely receiving the impact of AI technology, just because it's not. I guess we're not getting it at the end user level yet in terms of the humanitarian aid. Even when we have this mapping, sometimes there are lots of organizations who are mapping the areas via drone, but they're not sharing the data sometimes. So that's what we see. So we hopefully, once we go forward, we have more cooperation, more collaboration between organizations to be able to share the data, because that's the most important thing anyway. To start with, AI, we need to have good data to be able to analyze and do it like in a system, analyze it in a systematic way.
Okay. And from an end user perspective, the collection of data is usually let's say a concern for the end user, because no one knows what this data is going to be
Yes,
used
yes,
for.
yes.
So
Mhm.
how do you apply AI ethics in your line of work?
So because I'm a medical doctor,
Yeah.
my first thinking is do no harm. Make sure that what we're doing is not impacting the community in a negative way. So that's what I'm always thinking. So when I do this data collection, does it really serve the purpose for the community? Do we really need to get the data? Because sometimes, privacy, and sometimes we expose these marginalized communities to further persecution sometimes,
Okay.
because they're like hiding or something. But if you get their data and you expose them, sometimes they get targeted as well. So that's why we want to be sure that what we're getting from them is very useful, not for us actually, but for them, if
Okay.
it will really help them. So that's my first thing. And then, making sure that we have informed consent. Even though they're not educated as, we expect them, traditionally, but they're very smart, these people at the ground level, especially the local leaders. They know what they need, they know what their local needs. So that's why we have to be, respectful of what they believe in. So I have to explain everything. For example, for the drone delivery, I told the local health officials like that we're doing this to serve the area just because there's no infrastructure for transportation, for example, for delivering vaccines. So that's why you really have to get a good buy-in from the community first before you can implement these projects. Because if they don't have buy-in at the local level, your project won't be sustainable anyway. You're not empowering the community. So that's why I want to, get informed consent at the grassroots level.
Okay. And so artificial intelligence must have helped you gain access to remote areas where you were not able to access, previously without
Before,
the
yes.
yeah before. So, do you have any examples on some of the efforts of how artificial intelligence has enabled you to reach these areas?
Yeah, for definite examples, like when, as I said, we delivered the COVID vaccine. Before, to deliver the vaccines to this between these two remote islands, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 hours, depending on the wave condition.
Okay.
And sometimes there's a case where a patient died just because they were not able to traverse the waves because of the dangers of the water condition. So from 4 hours, we were able to shorten the delivery time of essential vaccines and medicine to 10 minutes. And they were impressed by it because, one, the local health worker doesn't have to travel to get the vaccines. The vaccines were delivered to her, so it minimized her extra work, and she was able to focus on the patient, so it improved her quality of care at the community level. In some areas, we delivered the vaccine in a mountainous area where there's some rebels as well. But when we delivered the vaccine in 10 minutes versus 4 hours as well, the health worker saw the benefits, like, oh, my safety, I'm not physically tired because of moving. So they saw the value of AI in providing services. And I said, AI is not meant to replace you guys. It meant to add value or to augment the services that you are providing right now. Because sometimes people are scared,
Yeah.
oh, this robot might replace my job. No, it's like you have to present it in a way for them to understand that it is helping you and it is adding value. Otherwise, even if it's a sexy project, we won't put it if it's not helping you anyway. So that's the thing with AI. We have to make sure that it really adds value to the services that we're providing it for.
Okay. And moving to the summit, where the summit's overall theme is AI for the betterment of humanity. What are your thoughts about Sadaya and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia holding the largest gathering for artificial intelligence around the world to discuss artificial intelligence and how it can be used for the betterment of humanity?
Yeah, I really appreciate that the government of Saudi is able to gather all the people here, because I think we need to get the power back. We're so global north, and it's good that Saudi is leading us. Especially us in the global south. That Saudi is like pushing us to come together, and making sure that technology is accessible for all. And because sometimes, it's all in Europe, in Northern America, and we go there, and it's
Not as accessible?
not accessible, but having it here, it makes it like a global accessible idea. And to have to see people coming from Europe, from Northern America, from Asia, participating in a melting pot and collaborating where there's no like, I'm on top of you, you're lower. I see that there's more equality. So I really appreciate the way it was presented in this situation. Yeah.
Okay, so you would say that this is more of a unilateral platform for all, rather
Yes.
than preferential for
I
different.
think so.
Yeah.
That's what because I've been to lots of seminars, or sometimes you're just observing. But this one, the organizers really encourage us to participate. To have our voices heard amidst the other voices out there. So I really, really appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, and you've attended the plenary sessions, and you've seen like a lot of what's been going on ground. What key takeaway do you hope to gain from attending the summit?
Well, my key point is that hopefully AI will not aggravate health inequality or inequity, because sometimes they produce AI products that are, it's very valuable, but it's not accessible for the people that I serve, the one at the lowest income strata. So I'm hoping that when we do AI, everyone is going to benefit, and we're making it more accessible for everyone. And I'm hoping that AI in the humanitarian sector is not just a pilot project all the time. I hope it can be scaled and be more sustainable and do more AI projects at the humanitarian level, because we need it. There are as we can see, with pandemics, with natural disasters, we need to be better we should have more knowledge, more adept in responding in a very smart way, and I think AI can help us do that.
Okay, I mean, we wish you nothing but the best in
Yes,
your
yeah.
in your humanitarian efforts, and this is all the time that we have for this interview. I'd like to thank you very much
No,
for
thank
taking
you.
the time to be with us, and that is all for today's episode for the Global AI podcast, emanating from the Global AI Summit. Tune in to our next episode. Goodbye.